color is that? White? Looks like a white Dodge Charger to me. Tough to tell without the night sun blasting, but we're doing 107 miles an hour here on the 10 eastbound, East San Gabriel Valley. Nobody on the call just yet, waiting on CBS to get there, so Desmond's right over it. Just waiting for the stream to catch live, so we'll switch over as soon as we can. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Another edition. Sorry, I'm just going to keep the audio from KCal in the background so that I know when they go live.
Welcome back. This was fun. Rivals.
Okay. Well, they're not live yet, are they? Chugging along here. Where are we? Okay. You know what? We're just going to rock with this stream for a little bit here. Red and Blues in pursuit, 10 eastbound, Baldwin Park, East San Gabriel Valley, as you can tell at the top of the screen there. Don't know what the want is. We don't have anyone on the call here. This is the Fox 11 stream here in Los Angeles, so it's just a raw feed at the moment. But indeed, let's boogity. Let's go chasing, everybody. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Welcome in, welcome back. Yeah, no volume whatsoever. You got to deal with me for the time being. White Dodge Charger, don't know what the want is. Don't know anything about this chase. Okay, now we have KCal in the air. Stand by.
It kind of makes it, all the
Desmond Shaw on the call.
Look kind of slow. Everyone going 65. This guy going, 85 to.
Let me switch streams here real quick. Bear with me, folks.
They've been in the left lanes most of the time. We'll see if they continue to stay on the 10 or if they take the 605
let's make the switch.
North towards either Irwindale
and we're good.
Or southbound towards Whittier, Norwalk, and Orange
I think Fox 11 was taking the stream. They were using the same exact graphics on top.
Freeway here just before the 605. So let's see.
They had the same exact graphics.
Yeah, this is the first
Okay, now we're getting off here. 10 westbound, not eastbound, westbound. I don't know. Now it says eastbound. I don't know where we are. All roads lead to Downey, but we are getting off, and there is some traffic coming up here.
This car about to make that right turn. If you're just joining us here on KCal.
All right, here we go. Red light, intersection. Might be popping a U-turn, get back onto the 10. No, we make a left-hand turn. Was that Normandy Avenue?
Let's go to Mike Rogers.
If that was Normandy, that means all roads lead to Downey. Okay, green light there. Stolen car is the want, as you can tell by the bottom of the screen. White Dodge Charger in the Mountain View area. All right, when they get off into the side streets, you can start to figure out exactly where we are.
Leads me to believe that this crime was probably witnessed, or they know this person.
Pomona? Someone said Pomona?
It's very specific to know during a chase of a stolen vehicle that there is this type of weapon in there. Generally, what we see with stolen car chases is that they'll run the plate comes back stolen, they'll try to pull the car over, and it takes off. But the fact that they have some pretty specific information about
Robber in the Cave, appreciate you both.
Leads me to believe that this was
We've been to that intersection before?
or a known suspect.
I'm a little lost personally. I know Valley Boulevard.
A little bit more information.
Mike, it is so incredibly unusual to know it is a ghost gun before the gun is even in custody.
Okay, supposedly a ghost gun in the vehicle, possibly used to.
There must be much more to.
Possibly used to steal the car, right?
Maybe a family member told them, but here we go. Look, it's slowing down just a little bit, Des.
Okay.
What's happening right here?
This looks like an on-ramp.
Back on the freeway here.
Yep.
So we were eastbound on Valley Boulevard, which is kind of like a mini freeway on this section here of the El Monte area. Now we're heading northbound on the 605, where there is definitely still some evening rush hour traffic. So we'll see how the suspect decides.
Okay, back on the freeway, but we're slow right now. Perez Place? Where is this? What are we doing? We're in the shoulder.
So stacking up as we're coming back to the interchange we just went through there with the 10 freeway. Zigging and zagging.
Okay, its speeds are considerably low.
At least they're not going.
Is there traffic ahead? I see cars lined up on the right-hand side. There might be an interchange. 605 interchange near the 10 westbound. That's probably why you got cars merging over on the side. So it makes LA Freeway so dangerous. That interchange downtown where you can connect it to the 110, to the 10, to the, what else is down there? The 10, there's like 5 different freeways, and when there's traffic,
fact
Those
that
cars are
this
practically
person
parked
may
in the
be
middle of the
armed,
freeway because
possibly
it's
a
an
ghost
8-lane
gun,
freeway
as
because of all the
Mike Rogers
interchanges.
of the Des
So you have
Moines
4
Police
lanes of freeway at a
Department
dead
definitely
stop.
does
And all the way on the left-hand
puts up that
side
security level
is
for these
the
officers. I
10
mean, we're not
that you
talking
can
just about
keep
someone who
going
stole a car. We're talking
eastbound.
about
And the
someone
cars are
who
doing like
hurt
90
somebody
miles an
possibly
hour past these
with that
parked
weapon.
cars.
Did they?
So
What
you get a
transpired
situation like
was
that where there's
that
just
he
a
was
whole bunch of cars
so
lined up
much
trying to
a
get
huge
off
story before this all
or
happened.
merge
States are,
while these other cars on the
even
left-hand
higher,
lanes
that
are
the
just
suspect
flying
is
by.
currently armed, even regardless of what the weapon might be. And here we go. The
Now we're picking up speeds back up to
605
80-ish miles an hour
northbound
here.
Flight here, reaching into the 80 miles an hour area. He's starting to move quickly again. The only good thing I can say about this, Mike and Desmond, is at least the traffic is loosening up. Fewer people in danger. It looks like it.
Getting off again.
Front there again, Des.
Yeah, getting
605
on the freeway
northbound.
here,
Okay, so we're
and,
just
seeing
east of
this
downtown then.
Lower Azusa Road. We're
605 takes you all the way up to like
kind of a
Palmdale,
Ramona,
doesn't it?
you know, Ramona Boulevard. So this is still kind of a neighborhood.
Or is this a
area.
short one? I'm not sure about where this part of the 605. But red light coming up here. Interchanges galore. Left-hand turn through the red light. Cars are coming to a stop at the perpendicular intersection.
605 freeway in the San Gabriel River. They're just gonna get
No
back on
spike
the
strips, no
freeway.
pit maneuver,
Some
too many
suspects
pedestrians.
seem to be keen on
7:16 p.m. local time here, so we're still very much in rush hour traffic. Looks like we're just continuing to get right back on the freeways after we get
We heard
off.
about this earlier, as I recall, when we heard about it in Ontario. I think I heard they were West 10, then they were East 10, then they were back West 10. You saw we got off the 10 at Durfee there at the 605, then wormed our way to the north 605. Now we're southbound 605. Seems to want to stick to the freeways. Maybe at least they've kind of slowed down here for the moment.
D.
Since they
Vader,
got off the
appreciate
freeway
you
there
welcome
South
in.
El Monte, the tone seems to have shifted a little bit. Not seeing those 110 mile an hour speeds. In fact, down to just 55 here at the moment. Little psych out there.
What was that?
At the last
Swerve?
second, like they were gonna try to get off the freeway. Very common tactic with these suspects to try to kind of pull a last second maneuver. But CHP, they're right back there. That's not going to pull.
Person is very aware of the situation here, knows he's being chased, know there's a night sun overhead. We're seeing slowdowns, we're seeing swerves, we're seeing irregular driving on and off the freeway.
Whittier, southbound 605.
And as
We are 605 southbound, headed towards Whittier, my friends. You know what's up next. All roads lead to Downey Norwalk. Downey Norwalk coming up here on the 605.
We believe at least one person in this car is armed, possibly with a ghost gun. I want to bring in Mike Rogers at the desk now to talk about the various ways that this car can be stopped by CHP officials. Mike, you know, we always talk about the fact that when we're going this fast on the freeway, I mean, forget it, really. Pit maneuver, spike strip.
Yeah. Pit maneuvers is out of the question here. A spike strip, maybe.
No, not
Desmond
at a
talked about
Hyundai.
this a lot. There's not a ton of opportunities to do a spike strip on a freeway because of all of the other vehicles. The freeway's very wide. You know, it's really hard to cast that net on a freeway. And the other issue is that he keeps getting on and off the freeways, which doesn't leave them a lot of room to get ahead of him to deal with.
Okay, 605 southbound. We should have a 105 interchange at some point, would be the first. Then I think the 605, if I'm not mistaken, merges into the 405 or the 5.
Getting away from law enforcement.
I'm sorry, no, the 5 before the 405.
We now have Air 22 from the
Right,
Sheriff's
my
Department
bad.
overhead. San Bernardino's 40 King is overhead.
Because the 405's west and then it snakes back around to merge with the 5 to take you to San Diego and Mexico.
Exactly. And Mike, and you mentioning that this suspect is armed, there is virtually no chance that authorities are going to call out the search and
The
just
one on the ghost
let this
gun,
run its course.
not
No,
sure,
it's an
but
armed
that's what's been
suspect,
relayed to us. Armed
speeding
suspect
triple digits
who is in a
down
stolen
the road.
car. So without knowing any information, my guess is that they used the ghost gun to acquire said vehicle. Right? That'd be the simple math on this, but we'll wait until we get some more information. Mike Rogers tapped in. DJ Ryerson giving out multiple subs to the channel. Once again, every stream he comes in here and dumps. W's in the chat for DJ. Most one of the most generous sub guys other than TXT in this entire community.
So we just crossed the
Appreciate
60
you, and
freeway.
as
We're still
do the
blasting
community
along
members.
southbound
605 southbound, I'll lay out and let Desmond go.
At one point, so just wondering if this suspect is, trying to formulate a plan or something, and then buy themselves a little bit of time. Sometimes we see that maybe they're on the phone.
No serial
with
number
someone
is what
trying
ghost
to
gun means,
See if
right?
someone can help them out, or if they're thinking about some area where they think
Just a
that
gun
they
that's not
can, use the
registered.
vehicle and have an advantage to get away from the authorities. But yeah, 3 sets of eyes from the air, not even counting our eyes from the air, all of the ground assets as well. So yeah, like Mike said, a pit maneuver almost certainly not in the offing. If they were going to do spike strips on a freeway, it would not be when we're talking about speeds like this. Whenever we've seen those attempts, a lot of times, you know, it'll be in pretty heavy traffic if they're driving much more docile, I guess you could say, you know, maybe going at the speed limit or less and kind of sticking to one side of the road. But when you have someone going 90 miles an hour and getting on and on.
We have reached Whittier, my friends. A couple moments away. Drop your D's in the chat. All roads lead to Downey. No surprise here. We go from the San Gabriel Valley. 10 eastbound, past downtown. We make a loop, and guess where the highway will take you? Like every other freeway in Los Angeles, Downey Norwalk.
Most likely what CHP is hoping for right now.
And Desmond, I think all the time that we've been following this, we haven't seen, thankfully, any close calls with any other drivers. There's been no sideswiping, no sudden stops. This person has managed to maneuver on the side streets, thankfully, without getting in a jam so far. Is that what you've seen since
Blackout City? Everyone else that is subscribed here, I apologize if I haven't seen every single person here. Yosku34, all you guys. Appreciate you joining the community or rejoining after all these subscription months. We will remember you. A little dangerous driving there as we draft over the double. It's not a double yellow, it's like a double white. It's the HOV lane, right? Massive ticket if a cop catches you drifting out of the HOV lane in normal traffic. And now we're back to standard lanes as we go 605 southbound.
We could get a look on the passenger side. Oh, look at that, they're even using their turn signal. But they've got that tint, that what I've kind of dubbed the pursuit tint, because almost every single one of these vehicles that we pursue has that really dark tint, which precludes us from looking inside. And that's another thing that law enforcement definitely hates to deal with in a pursuit, is not being able to see what's going on inside the vehicle.
They gave out the Lakers coaching staff quarter zips to season ticket holders. Got myself a Lakers quarter zip now.
With passengers, but we do know tonight that this person is possibly armed with a ghost gun, and the CHP has been in chase.
Lane number 1, southbound, still exit 15 on the 605.
So,
just southeast of downtown.
What has
White Dodge Charger, prime time.
Before this, that the CHP is
stolen vehicle pursuit, ghost gun believed and allegedly in the car, in the vehicle with the suspect as we cross back over into lane number 2.
We do have that unusual detail that there's a ghost gun involved. What do we know about how this started and where we first picked it up?
Yeah, you know, I know the CHP is trying to work with the sheriff's office out in San Bernardino to.
There's a beautiful looking bird in the sky right there. That looks like LA. Is it CHP? What is that? It's so bright that you can almost read the side. If it's a green and yellow bird, that's a sheriff's department. If it's black and white, it's LAPD. If it's blue and white, it's usually CHP.
It's happening kind of quickly that we're transitioning.
Three different departments it could possibly be. Chances are it's CHP because we've been on the freeway for so long. Those of you unaware, CHP stands for California Highway Patrol. And now we're getting off the freeway here. This does not look like an interchange as we still are in Whittier.
Picked it up in the Ontario area, kind of near the Ontario Mills.
Getting off the freeway here. Might be getting off because there was traffic ahead as we get towards the 5 merge.
It could have been from there. It's not clear how long they were chasing.
We've now seen him get off and go the opposite way twice. He probably wants to get back onto one of those freeway on-ramps, but we have a green light coming up here. Looks like all cars are stopped, and we're making a U-turn and getting back what believes to be on the freeway. This would have been a great place to pit maneuver here. 45 miles an hour, no innocent pedestrians around. You had a median and a barrier in any wide turn like that, especially going to the left, is an invitation for a pit-certified officer to drive through the back left quarter panel, install the engine.
And then reverse course on that stretch of freeway, and that's what we've done now, northbound 605. And this is the volume side, but again, you know, we're well past, now that we're well into 7 o'clock.
Going away from Downey Norwalk now.
You might see a little bit of on and off slowing between here and the 10. We did see that earlier when we were in the South El Monte area. It just kind of seems like this suspect is trying to buy time, trying to kind of formulate a plan. Not making a really
This could be a long one, folks. I agree with Desmond here that this is not your average complete moron suspect. Does seem a little calculated with these decisions, and he keeps getting onto freeways that have less traffic.
Or wrong
while he's
on
maybe
the surface.
prospecting the idea of a
Any
getaway.
those, tactics or really kind of desperate measures now, but we do still have the speeds. Still, I've kind of been going only a little bit above the speed limit. We have seen little bursts of 90.
Somebody asked, why do
miles an hour.
engines
Actually,
stall
I'm
when they
sure
get
we've seen
pitted?
100 over the
So
last,
those automatic
10
engines, they get
minutes,
hit in the
or
back.
so.
Most of these vehicles are rear-wheel drive cars. And when they either get lifted, they get lifted from the surface or they skid, it will automatically just stall out the engine as gears slip. And then it's almost impossible to get that engine re-revved up immediately.
Where you can, but the bad news is the suspect is believed to be armed. The suspect is driving a stolen vehicle
Without some attention
itself,
to it. So
possibly a weapon.
the perfect
Police
speed
are
to
unable
pit
at these
a car is
speeds
between
to,
35 and 50 miles an hour. Will
successfully
usually do
and
the job.
safely use a pit maneuver.
Most of these people are hitting the gas as they skid.
Long haul, as they just try to wear
And
this
then the
person
engine
down.
stalls.
There's almost no chance of them calling out for pursuit of an armed suspect fleeing in a stolen vehicle.
And you just wonder.
Somebody
what
said
they're
life goal is to
thinking
be in
right now,
chat
as
while
they
also being the
exit
driver.
sometimes off
Having
surface
one phone on
streets and get
WAP,
back
another
onto
phone
the
with
freeway.
Waze.
They're thinking maybe
Yeah,
we
Waze will not
surface
help
streets, we
you
might
in a
lose
police chase.
officers for
You know
just
what
a
will help
second
you?
even, and maybe
Restricted
try and do
airspace.
that, and then
You know what
get
will
back
help
on the
you?
freeway. Of course,
Tracking
getting on
mode.
surface streets, as we were talking about
Get to
with Michael
LAX,
at the
go to
desk,
Disneyland,
putting spikes
hit that
yourself
tunnel
and
on
maneuvers,
Aviation
obviously
Boulevard.
easier at slower speeds,
Hope that you're in
on surface
tracking
streets,
mode,
but
get
the
out and
conditions have to be, good
hope
on
you can get
surface
away.
streets as well.
Also,
There's
what
gotta be
will
a
help
clear
is
path for
parking
them to do all
decks.
of this. So,
Getting into a parking
him
deck.
or her
Helicopter
getting
will
back
not
on
be
the
able to
freeway,
track you.
once
If it's a
again,
crowded,
off and on, that's
if it's a
certainly
crowded
not
shopping
easy.
mall, we've
know,
seen
we
seen
all
suspects dump the
day
car in a
long
parking
have
deck and just
very
run into a
investigative
crowded,
piece about the number
like
of
at the
car
Grove in
thefts
West Hollywood, and just blend in.
25,500.
They don't know what they look like. You take your shirt off, take your hat off, put a hat on.
All of them are stolen
They have no
cars.
clue where you are,
This
and
is
then you're
one of
gone.
the
We've seen it
byproducts
more
we
times than
see
not.
out of
Really
the
picking up
stolen
speed here,
cars,
guys.
the car
Look at the
chase.
rate of speed here, now up to
Car chase.
110 miles an hour. That is pretty standard
Stolen
traffic that he
cars.
is long against.
Fortunately, in 2023, we're seeing a slight decrease in the number
Yeah,
of
I would go
attacks.
restricted
Hopefully, we'll
airspace to
start
get the
seeing
helicopters
fewer
away
and
from me,
fewer
and then I would probably go to a
cases
parking
like this,
deck
but tonight
down
the
in El
chase is
Segundo
still on.
and
This one's been
find
going on
somewhere
for
for
at
me
least
to
20
try and
minutes.
blend
If you're
in.
just joining us here on KCAL News, this is a stolen Nissan. The suspect driving is believed to be armed with what we think and have been told by authorities is most likely a ghost gun. How we know that, the specificity of a possible weapon in this car is still unclear, but authorities are just out of frame, following closely behind. This car's been racing down the 10, now the 605 south, getting on, getting off, getting back on at speed, sometimes topping 100 miles an hour.
And we've covered a lot of ground here, Ross, you were talking about the various freeways that this person has been on, and Mike was saying that we picked
Somebody
this up,
said,
actually.
Blandford
Desmond
says,
actually
thanks for the
picked this up
advice.
in
I'll make sure to
Ontario
remember how to
Mills
get
area.
away.
And now look at us.
All right, we're getting
We're
off
in
here.
East San Gabriel Valley.
This should be, this looks like an
That's
interchange.
going back and
That is a
forth.
wide off ramp. 605 might be going back to the 10, might be my guess. There's a whole bunch of options here.
Maybe they don't even know.
60
either, but
eastbound,
we've seen
perhaps?
situations where people kind of have a
The 60 is there. I think that was the 60 with the overpass.
The
60 is an east-west
This person has not
little
done that.
freeway.
The on and off the freeway, the up and down the 605.
60 west would be good for us. That'll take us more towards downtown.
So we'll see if he ends up going back.
We'll be just
eastbound
north
towards
of
San Bernardino
downtown.
County,
This looks
where
like
this whole
60
thing
west,
started,
I
and
think.
It's just, it's hard to tell if these guys just think that let me drive.
We were just
long
going
enough,
north.
eventually they'll get
So this
tired
might
or
be
get rid of me
east.
or what have you, but I can tell you.
Guess we'll
that the
find out
CHP
shortly. It says west
is
at the
just
top of the screen,
anecdotally
but
will
let's hope
chase
it's west.
Just about anything. There is not much that the CHP won't chase, which is this driver's worst nightmare, because they can go the whole state. We've already seen them cross over 3 of the CHP offices: the Santa Fe Springs, East LA for a little bit, and the Baldwin Park CHP office. So they've got no shortage of officers that are willing to take this over, and it'll keep going until this guy gives up or they do something to end it.
And Mike and Susie, as you well know, in the end, we always find out that there is no rhyme or reason. It is a criminal act, and there is very rarely a plan. We tend to believe that people try to head towards areas that they know, but at the end of the day, it usually turns out that they are just running blindly, and no one knows what's going on in that car. The only good thing we can say, Des, as we continue to watch this, is no close calls yet. And this driver is using signals, and comparatively and relatively, we have to stress, not as erratic as chases we've seen in the
Yeah, and
past.
thank goodness for that. Let's go back to Mike Rogers at the desk for this update. Mike.
Yeah, we're just hearing from the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office. I just got an email back from them. The pursuit started in Rancho Cucamonga, like I thought, near Arrow Route and Baker Avenue at 6:40. So this has been going on for a lot longer than we thought, almost an hour.
Yeah,
now.
and
Come along
Wong
7:30.
in the chat says, if some of you are having audio issues, change your video quality to 720.
Is reported stolen, and it did begin.
That usually
when they tried to
fixes
make a
the
traffic
choppy
stop on the
audio
car.
situation. It's a
CHP
pretty
is
simple
taking
option
over.
there.
I
Just
did
click your
ask them
settings.
again about
Nothing
this
about the
whole
stream will
weapon,
change
thing
other
that
than
we've been
getting
hearing
better
that we've
audio.
been talking about. So hopefully they'll respond to me with that information. But now that we know 6:40 is when it started out in the Rancho Cucamonga area,
I just need a
saying
headset.
It is reported stolen.
And what a crazy detail that ghost gun is. How they knew that is
I need a
really
heads-
gonna be
I need-
interesting to
I need
find
one of
out.
those
But the
chopper-
bottom line for authorities
chopper
chasing right
headsets.
now, this person is armed with a weapon, armed with a pretty sizable vehicle, and speeding at times over 100 miles an hour. It looks safe to us watching.
Still a 3-star
from
chase here as we swerve
Sky
around the
Cow
60
up
westbound,
above, but it's a
taking
very
us towards
dangerous situation
downtown
out
Los
there for
Angeles.
police right now.
Sure.
What's
And
going on in
going
downtown
dispatch on
LA?
the freeway,
No Clipper
and
game, no Laker
it
game. There
makes
might be
you
a
wonder
Kings game
how
down there,
long before
starting
this
at
person
7:30.
runs out of gas. I mean, Desmond was, talking about the fact that perhaps when this car was actually stolen, it had a low level of gas, and that's what we're hoping for, so that it'll, wrap up, pretty soon here. But if not, if they're on a full tank, I mean, certainly they've covered they've covered a lot of ground here in Southern California so far tonight. But still, they can have a lot more gas in that tank, which means they can go a lot further than this.
And Mike, perhaps the good news authorities haven't told you yet that anyone else is in the car, because certainly by now, the amount of detail we've had, we would know if this is a carjacking and someone else inside. That's some bit of good news.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, CHP, when they get the want, that's what it's called. When
Yeah, I don't know what year this
vehicles
is on the
wanted
Dodge
for,
Charger.
They put it out
Sorry,
over their
guys.
officers, and it's being described as a 10851 vehicle, which is the California vehicle code for a stolen vehicle. And if it was something else, as you suggested, Ross, carjacking or anything else, the want would be described as the more serious crime, which would have been the carjacking. So we've only heard CHP describe it as a stolen vehicle, and so that is the good news, that we probably or hopefully wasn't stolen by any means of force or anything like that.
Yeah, so then again, the question is, how does CHP know that this person is actually armed tonight?
Right.
If they didn't actually report carjacking, maybe like we're talking about, somebody saw them with a gun. Maybe at one point they had it out the window, or maybe someone saw it, as they were, who knows?
And I'm just going to say, we also don't know the circumstances of the theft. If this was a family member who stole it from another family member, maybe that family member knows that this person has a gun.
And that would make a little more sense, wouldn't it? We talked a few minutes ago about the increase in auto thefts, and just a few months ago we did another investigative piece on ghost guns and the national attempt to make it more difficult to purchase, to make sure that credit card companies did not authorize the transactions for the parts. A ghost gun is something you buy in a kit, for example, and you
Someone
put the
said,
pieces together
not
yourself.
stolen by
There's no serial
force,
number.
stolen by
It's a
creativity.
growing problem, and this chase tonight is really emblematic.
Look at all that traffic on the other
Problem
side.
in car
That's
thefts
kind of
and
strange
ghost
since
guns.
that's going away
A
from
dangerous
downtown, but it makes
situation
sense since
that
people are
we have
leaving
been
the
seeing
city.
more of.
Yeah, it's true. Let's go back upstairs to Desmond Shaw live in Sky Cal. I saw a patrol vehicle kind of speeding up ahead of another one. Are they changing out jurisdictions right now? Is that what's happening, CHP?
Most likely that's what's happening, because we have gone through quite a few different CHP offices on this one. I did want to mention, though, I've noticed that
Yeah, the 710 would take us to Downey.
CHP or whoever the
605 is a little
agency is,
east of it.
right
It would have put us in that
very
direction.
close
Whoa,
to
we're going
suspect.
hard right turn here. Really hard right turn. Immediate get off. Okay, I don't know if this is an interchange. It looks like we're getting off onto a side street. I would not recommend getting back on the freeway because the eastbound 60 sure looked like it was
But
packed
I'm
with
worried,
traffic.
they're doing
So
that
now,
because this person was going so fast, they don't want to
now we're headed for
give them an excuse to
pretty
try
lengthy
driving faster than
off-ramp.
510 miles an hour, because they would be very capable of keeping up with them if they wanted to, but they have been.
A right-hand turn will take them away from the freeway too. Okay, we're now away from it. We're going away from it. Now we're in play.
Armed and dangerous, I believe. This
Now
is
things
what we've seen here.
change.
I think this is the first time we've seen the window down.
Oh,
We're getting
windows
a
down.
View of the driver right
Hello
now.
there.
Looks like they're wearing some dark clothing.
Hello. Whoa, pulling over.
Something pulling over. Oh,
Windows going
what
up.
is this? Is this somebody?
What?
Just
A pedestrian?
just
Oh my
saw
God. Zoom, Desmond. You pump faked us like he was about to eject Ocido.
Beelining for that person.
You can't do that.
Yeah, and we actually
That
saw a couple
pedestrian
weeks
didn't
ago where,
walking
somebody
across
did
the street
something
randomly.
to, someone else
with his hands in his
was with him,
pockets.
So you never know. But no, that just appeared to be a random bystander there jaywalking. So windows down.
It's just lamping.
Back up. No, it's down. It's kind of rolling the window.
These windows keep going up and down,
So
suggest to me we're
let's see,
looking
this
for a
is
place to
actually,
dump it.
So far, the longest that we've been off of the freeway, I think. Where they got off right here in the Montebello area was not an area where they could just get off the freeway and then make a left and get right back on the freeway, the way that the 60 kind of runs through that area. So let's see if this is where they meant to go or if this is just random and if they're lost. But so far, the longest distance that we've been off the freeway, and we'll see if the speeds get up pretty high, up to 40 miles an hour. But
Did the pedestrian
still
just set a
nothing
screen?
super dangerous in the way of the driving.
Off-ball screen, a little pin down
You know,
action to
it's
get
so interesting
get the
that we
CHP
have
back a
glimpse
little
there
bit
of
as
the
this
driver, and
person
it's very
continues
interesting
to
see
kind
the
of.
body language.
I would
Many
say
times you get the
he's
glimpse of
probing.
someone inside, frantic on the phone,
His foot's not
making
really on the
gestures.
gas.
Listen,
The window's
for that
going
brief
down. He's
second,
looking behind.
just
Might be
have
looking
a
for an
drive.
opportunity to dump the car. But he knows the night sun is on top of him. This is not tracking mode. He's not going to feel like I got away if the red and blues
Look at this
back up
closely to see
behind him.
together what the
That
state
night
of
sun
the
says, "We are
mission
here,
is."
and we know
They
you're
have to
there.
Always factor in the risk of what this person is going to do when that car finally stops, and it will stop.
That's right. Mike Rogers with an update.
Yeah, CHP is being given information right now, and it sounded like it was coming from one of the air units, but I couldn't tell really which one. The vehicle was stolen out of El Monte, which we are getting closer to. I mean, he passed it already, but now we're kind of moving.
Is he
our way
going to
back
return the
eastbound.
car and say,
So if it was stolen out
I'm
of El
good.
Monte, it's unclear if this person
I
was from
returned
there
it.
or,
See?
what the exact
Drop the
their
charges,
connection is to
drop
that
the
city,
stars.
but, it makes a little bit more sense that we're kind of around this area now that we know that that's where it was stolen.
You know, it's interesting. My glimpse of that person, it looked like an older, didn't it? Someone,
it was
not a
hard to tell.
teenager. Yeah, and we've seen this trend.
Right? Doesn't it
with
feel
the
like we're
auto
kind of
theft that
just-
we're seeing a slight uptick. This is anecdotal.
looking for
of
something.
Teenagers taking these cars for a joyride.
We
There have
are
been some,
investigating. We're
ways to start
navigating.
cars that are on the internet with Kia and Hyundai. The automakers are addressing those issues right now, but there has been a slight uptick, anecdotally, from my police sources, that's what's been happening. In this particular car, Nissan, we haven't heard of any.
Lighting up the neighborhood here, red and blues flashing off the trees. Hard right turn. Hit the gas really hard there.
To know. It looked like maybe
Very erratic, but there is a cop with a miniature night sun coming out the driver's side window right on his ass. You can tell by the reflection in the back of this Dodge Charger.
Thank goodness for that. Looks like they are slowing down for the stop sign here. With
Oh,
the
thank
safety
God.
right behind them.
Ooh,
That kind of
ooh,
situation and
a pump fake.
here.
We went with the right. Anytime you
In
pump
this
fake like that, by the way, you are
neighborhood,
begging to get
no
pit
one's out
maneuvered.
walking around.
If you
Looks
do
like
that
they're
whole,
gonna
I'm
make
gonna
that
juke
move
right,
here.
but actually go left,
You know,
all that does is
just
make your
again,
left-hand
you know,
turn
get
even
all the
wider,
surface
and they can
details
drive
and
right through you, and
CHP
it's game
talking
over.
about
That
what
never
their
works
plan is
unless you're
right
at really
now.
high rates of
Even an
speed.
attempt to do a spike strip or perhaps a pit maneuver at some point. You know, they're looking for that pattern. First of all, this person needs, I mean, they need to get some sort of pattern down. Now they're going down some alleyway.
Okay, now we're going down an alleyway.
Set up at the end of
Good-
this
good
alleyway.
spot
They
for a
have to
spike
pick up
strip,
that
but
pattern.
you can't
This person
expect them
keeps going in circles,
to know
that's
he was
more
going down
likely,
this
and
alleyway.
It's easier to do, obviously, but when the person was on the freeway constantly, that was not an option.
You know, my feeling is when they get into these side streets in the darker areas like this, that they're looking for a place to bail. They're looking for a place to stop. It's just a hunch, but that's what's going through police officers' minds.
That is one
right now.
bright night
This
sun. It's
person
probably
seems
lighting up all those
calm, rolling
apartment
down the window.
buildings.
Was it an attempt to communicate? Oh, here we go.
Oh, is that a... se-
Very close here.
What is that
That's
person
what
doing?
we've seen now.
Why was that car
So
parked
they're trying to
perpendicular? Was
anticipate
there,
what's going through this
we've seen a
mind.
citizen's
About
arrest
the
lately.
suspect. Are they wearing this person down?
Stop
Are they
it, not looking
an
for
out?
Denny's.
Are they looking for
They're
a
all-
way to
poor-
end
leave
this
Denny's out of this.
safely? It's hard to tell. What do you see, Desmond?
Well, knowing this area
Mickey
here, and
S.
the
Mall.
way that the
What's up?
60 kind of acts
Appreciate
like
you
a
subscribing.
wall between Montebello and Monterey Park. If the suspect's not familiar with where
Those of
they
you that are new,
and the way they made a couple of
you want
those
to keep
turns
the
make it
ads
seem
from
like
popping
they're
up at the
not sure
most
where they
important
are,
of times.
they can
There's
very
one way to do
easily
it.
run into a
Connect your
dangerous
Amazon
street
Prime
here,
account to the channel.
if
It's
they
rather
don't stay
simple.
on
Do it
one
on your
of our
home screen.
major streets. So,
Subscribe to the
yeah,
channel.
wondering if
You'll be on
that's
your way.
going to
Everyone
happen,
else is just going to complain in
now
the
at this
chat.
point. But you see,
And you're gonna
CHP,
miss
they
it.
will be ready if this person does go into
You've been
a dead
warned.
end. And by the way, even if they do, and they run into a cul-de-sac or something like that, they can certainly turn around and try to force their way back out. I mean, obviously that.
He just wanted to get the cop out from the tree. I bet that cop is still stuck in that tree when he Leroy Jenkins that tree.
The suspect got boxed in, and then you're also talking, about.
See, DWS gets it.
So, CHP may not want that to happen either. And a lot of times too, if they do drive into
Farting
kind
Poop
of a
King.
one-way street into a dead end,
Do you have that screen
they
name just so I have to
will a lot
say
of
it out
times
loud on the
allow
stream?
The suspect some room to squeeze by, which sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but they just don't know the mental state of the person that they're dealing with, and if they have reason to believe that
The
this
homie
person,
Earl, you
is
as well.
armed,
Welcome
then,
in. What's up?
they don't
Appreciate
want to
you.
box that person in too much. Obviously, if they're not going to surrender, the next best thing CHP is hoping for is that they're going to get out and run, and hopefully.
Okay, he's
not
made it
have
back to a
weapon
freeway.
and,
His comfort zone. Might have a marathon chase on our hands here. You know he's getting back on. I feel a left-hand turn coming here, don't you? No! Oh, interesting. We're going past the 60 freeway, continuing on Gerhardt Avenue and Pomona Boulevard.
If you're watching this here on KCAL News and you're in this
055.
area here in Southeast,
Talk to me, my
Los
friends.
Angeles,
What's
of
good?
course, please
Appreciate you
stay
subscribing
very
to the
far from
channel.
road. When these people
Treroy
are
Jenkins might have been the
driving
worst
and
move I've
jumpers
ever
are
seen.
above, shining these lights,
Not only
it's
did he
very
wreck his car,
quiet
but he also
watches
freed the
on
suspect
KCAL,
and almost
Skycam,
allowed that person
but
to drive
these
into
people are just
90 mile an hour
going through their- you don't know
traffic.
what's going through their mind. You don't want to be anywhere
This is
near
not a good
it. And
time for
sometimes-
Ejectocito. Not with the Night Sun and not with LAPD's ground units or CHP right behind you.
that we're talking about tonight,
Absolutely.
which obviously turns it into an entirely different dangerous situation. But
At
again,
family dinner for my brother's
CHP
birthday,
officials
tell Steve
not
happy
letting this
birthday.
one go,
Happy
obviously,
birthday,
tonight.
Steve.
This
I
person
hope
is
you're
armed.
enjoying
They
it
wanna get to
with this
person.
wonderful
Again, we don't know how many
31-minute
people are inside
chase
this car. We saw
in
that
East
one
Los
person when they,
Angeles,
rolled
in the
down
Southgate
window, which
area
is
as we
driver, of
approach
course,
Downey.
but
Hopefully you're in
we don't know
Downey
if
as
they have
well.
passengers inside this car. It's unclear right now, but again, this is a stolen pursuit that started, a stolen car pursuit that started at 6:40, as Mike at the desk was talking about. So 1 hour now into this pursuit, the car was stolen out of El Monte, and
So the
we
chase
picked
has
it
been
up
going
in
on
the
for an
Ontario
hour.
Mills
We've
Mall
been
area
live
of
on the air for
Pomona. So they
33
have
minutes.
made
So
quite
as you
the
can tell, it
distance,
always
but the trip
takes
from all the way
it
out
takes
there
the
to here
choppers a
that
little
they
while
see
to
here, they
identify it's
steal
a
the car
chase
thinking
we're
that they'll get
going
away,
to, then
come
getting
there
there, then
until
getting the
fresh
stream
traffic.
live takes
That's right,
time.
the
That's
car
why we
was stolen
don't
at
get
El
every
Monte.
single chase
The, police
available
discovered it was stolen.
onto
They
stream
mentioned
because we need the media to
them
get there.
Trying to pull this car over, perhaps that's
Is
where
Treroy
they
Jenkins
realized, we don't know what that traffic
a Mount
stop was
Rushmore
like,
chase?
whether they
It's
actually
pretty
were able to
close.
Walk up to the car before they took off.
The Great
But
Compton
in the
chase of
meantime,
2016,
as
the
my
tunnel
doctor's on
chase,
desk,
the
he
Charlotte
just told
chase.
us,
I don't know.
we
I got to
learned
think
that
about
they
it.
are
There's
armed, that they do have
there's a
what's
lot.
believed to be a ghost gun. Let's go over to Mike.
crane
right now
guy,
for the very latest. Mike,
RIP.
any new information coming in?
Yeah, the San Marino Sheriff's Office tells me they're looking into the details regarding the
Marlins,
gun.
1998.
That information had initially
DJ
been relayed to the
My is
CHP
happy to be here as
officers,
well.
when they were
Good seeing
picking this up
everybody.
in
It's
the
been a
Inland
minute.
Empire. And again, I'll remind you that the Inland Empire
White whale chase,
CHP
yep,
officers didn't
that one.
actually take the
I really
chase.
just gotta
They
think
were-
about it
San
one of
Marino
these
Sheriff
days.
Stayed with it.
I gotta put
right
together
actually
the
until
formidable
we
top
came on
four
the
of
air.
all time.
And as we came
I mean,
on the air,
OJ.
pedestrian.
Whoa! Whoa! We almost hit that pedestrian on the street who's scrambling to get in his vehicle. Now, you get an idea, guys, of just how fast this chase is going, because it looks like slow rates of speed. But when someone is parked on the side of the road and someone's doing 44 miles an hour on a one-lane, tight little street with cars parked there, and he goes whizzing by you at that speed, your ass gets into motion quickly.
Several minutes ago, he kind of turned right and turned, and it almost looked like he saw that big street off to his left, and then that's why he decided to kind of veer left, and that's just indicative of somebody who has no idea where they're at in this neighborhood. Desmond mentioned trying to split the freeway, the 60 freeway there to get south of it. So you've got a person who I can only assume is just trying to do whatever they can to get away from the police, and hopefully you go thinking you go through.
Yeah, the mid-chase interview was
That's
Charlotte.
not going to be the case. There are, including television helicopters, 7 helicopters above him.
7.
He's not going to get lost.
Mike, can I-
7.
I think that's
I'm going to imagine
unusual. You have
it's
7 helicopters
Fox,
over?
CBS, KCAL,
It is and it isn't. I mean, you
NBC,
have CHP,
KTLA,
they're the primary helicopter,
CHP.
that one we keep seeing go through Desmond's shot. That's the helicopter that is down low calling this. And then you have 40 King from the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department that is kind of staying a little bit higher.
Mr. Invincible
monitoring it.
chase,
And
yeah.
that's not unusual
Mr.
either.
Invincible,
When
the white whale
Sheriff's
chase,
Department
Great Compton
in San
chase,
Bernardino
tunnel
is
chase.
involved in a chase, and it's their kind of case. they oftentimes will stick with it, even if it's out of their county. They've got
Dami,
more than
what's
one
up?
helicopter over there. It doesn't kill them to lose one to come monitor
Hootski,
this chase.
appreciate
because,
you as well.
The other issue here is
7
that
choppers
San
in the
Diego
air.
Sheriff's
If you guys are
Office
here in LA,
radios
you
So
can
the
see it looks like
sheriff
stars are
from
moving in the
helicopter
sky.
can
There's
relay
usually, when
information
there's so many
to the
choppers
whereas
like this,
CHP
there's just an
helicopter
armada.
probably have a little
And
bit of a difficult
when they're
time
all
with this.
going to the chase
They're
at the
a little
same
more
time,
challenging
it is
times switching back
fucking
and forth
nuts.
between radios,
You look
talking to the
up
San
and you
Bernardino
can
deputies,
hear them coming
whereas
too,
the
even if they're not
sheriff's
directly
helicopter keep
overhead.
everybody
You see,
informed.
it looks
We're looking
like
to see
bugs
just really quick
in the
if the,
distance, but if they're coming towards you, it
LA
gets
County
bigger and
Sheriff's
bigger,
Office looks like
louder and
they're
louder,
in the
and
area
they're
a little
all
bit to
lined up
celebrate.
next to each
They've
other,
kinda pulled
like a
off too.
flying
So,
V.
It's not
It's
terribly
intense as
uncommon to have
hell.
2 law enforcement helicopters.
Welcome to
The
Los
rest are
Angeles.
us and, you know.
And we always want to point out.
Well,
Mike and
7,
Susie,
I mean,
that
they're all spread
even
out from
though
each
we've
other.
Seen the aircraft fly through our shot, and
It's like being in traffic, just in the air. You're not gonna hit a car that's right next to you on the freeway, right?
Incredibly tight, and they are always monitoring to make sure that we are a safe distance and nowhere near interfering with anything that is.
Why are people
happening
talking about
out there
Jordan Poole in the
logistically. Let's
chat?
go back out to Desmond Shaw for the very latest. Desmond, how far are we now from any highway? It looks to us here that this person is completely.
Has a chase come close
lost
to my
in the
place?
side
Yeah,
streets.
actually
Are they
recently.
heading to an
There was a
area
West
where it
Side
looks like
chase.
They're boxed in and no chance of getting back on the highway?
Well, we are. I can see the 60 out the left window just fine. We're actually pretty close, paralleling the 60 as we're eastbound, but there's no immediate on-ramp right here. We're kind of heading towards, and folks that live in this area will know that once you get kind of, past part of the Montebello area, there's no entrances, or there's only one entrance. It's kind of, there's only one way to really access it over by that big shopping center. To pick up, one of the ramps for
Still going
the
here.
60 freeway. So they're
Still
well
going.
involved in
Southgate.
neighborhoods. Not looking like they do look pretty discombobulated, pretty aimless at this point.
Jess, who
And
is
it's
that? 3
unclear if
months
they're
and
looking for
counting.
the freeway or what, but
Someone
they're just pretty
consider
lucky
that a
they haven't run
relationship.
into any dead ends, but that may be gonna
Chicago
change
Spartan.
as we start to get
Back-to-back
near this
months. Good to have you
hill over
back.
by the Garvey Reservoir where,
Tone Rock says, where can we watch the
streets
best car
don't
chases
really
you've covered
function
from the
like a
past?
grid
Everyone
service.
that's been
They
on
get
Twitch
a
is
little bit,
available
a little more
here
squirrely
on the
winding in
website.
different
Just gotta
directions.
follow
There's definitely
and
some one-way streets
just
in that
load
area.
past broadcasts or
But
highlights.
we've been
Because
turning
Twitch
right,
drops your
left
past
going
broadcasts
north,
after a
going
month.
east. Now
They're in the
we're,
archive as highlights.
eastbound here, so I'd say about a mile
But
east
all the
of
ones from Periscope are long gone.
Atlantic Boulevard on-ramp for some context here in the Montebello area.
Yeah, you're probably wondering at home, often as viewers, why isn't the CHP just pushing this car right now? Why aren't they doing a spike strip or doing a pit maneuver? You notice the streets, Ross, that they were driving on just now, very narrow.
Longest
with
chase, Max,
cars on
probably
either
4
side,
hours.
And they're not going to attempt something like that in a situation like that. The pit maneuver, the spike strips, I mean, it's a very methodical, both of them operations. They have to make sure, of course, like you were saying,
Processing,
safety
76.
is their priority.
Gotta
in
imagine
any
you're a
of those
76ers
events.
fan.
So obviously, in a small, neighborhood like that, I'm sure they would like to
Tim
give that car
Daly.
a little push. But
10
you
months
gotta
of
think about
counting.
what could happen. Are we going to get
Went to
back
school
on
with a
the
guy
freeway
named
now,
Tim
Desmond?
Daly. Maybe that's you.
Well, I think
It
we're
looked
going
like
to
it.
be. It seems like that's
Oh,
what's
909
happening.
graphics.
Yeah,
Remember
they
909
were
graphics
Garfield
chase?
there, which, they did
I forgot
actually
about
have
that. That was a
a
slow speed
on
pursuit
the
too.
freeway, but,
He was doing
now
advertising for
on
909
Whittier
graphics.
Boulevard, which will be paralleling the 60 through East LA, Montebello, and over towards the city of Whittier. So this is the busiest street I think we've seen.
Sammy asked, how long did the OJ
so
chase
far.
last?
Which could definitely be
2
crowded
hours?
many other times of the day, but now as we're getting pretty close to 8 o'clock, things kind of starting to empty out. Obviously, a lot of businesses on. The
Yeah,
street.
rush hour is
A lot
coming
of
to a
folks
close.
shut
It's
up-
still
set up shop-
7:48
or close
local
shop, I
time
should say,
here.
for the
PM.
day. We'll just wait out and see just how far back CHP is.
Packers
out.
fan
There was quite a few
963.
other law
Anonymous
enforcement who
gifter.
were kind of monitoring
Giving
this.
out
He-
subs.
I think he drove by a Montebello
W's in the
PD,
chat.
Well, I was
unit
gonna
as well
mention
as
that,
another CHP that was facing the other way.
Yeah, I was thinking how fortunate, because it seemed like the authorities were starting to anticipate, right? He drove almost head on into another one, and that could have been the
Well,
moment. But
those of you
unfortunately now,
are very well
getting
aware,
back on these
like the Leroy
things
Jenkins chase
here.
from
And,
a couple of weeks
Susie
ago,
was
it can
talking
just be
about,
going all
we
normal,
all
might get a little
think that it would
bored,
be so easy
and then
to
all of a
maneuver
sudden,
the spike strip,
it
as Mike
happens.
pointed out earlier, and is unlikely
It
to do a
happens.
pit maneuver where this person is armed and swing that car back around facing them.
Something new
It's
always
safety first, and these
happens
things are
in a
highly-
chase.
Highly calculated.
Just because it's a
by
little
the
slow to
CHP,
start does
and
not
it
mean it will
appears,
end that way.
Mike, Desmond, and Susie, that
Oh,
here we
and
go.
now we head into a target. Is there a Denny's in
that
here?
They're just gonna have to.
That looks like a
get the person
CHP.
down.
Oh, he might ditch. He might ditch and go to a target. No, really picking up speed, 30 miles an hour over the speed bump in the target.
And you know, that
30 miles an hour in the parking lot.
Montebello units were there, so we've talked about this before.
Now going into another parking lot, flying over the speed bump. 40 miles an hour in this parking lot. That is fucking flying.
This is
Oh, that's so dangerous.
go into a big
Anyone that's walking through that is going to get flattened. Now the cops are trying to block off the exit. Pedestrian backing up. They're going to try and box him in here, but they're a little late.
They're coordinating this.
They're trying. Look how many are scrambling in those parking lots waiting for him. May have been trying to set up spike strips, but just a second late as this is now picking up right on cue. Back to Whittier Boulevard here in the Southgate area.
A Walmart or a Home Depot or a huge store, if they just have 20 or 30 seconds. We have actually seen suspects get away that way, but maybe didn't see what he liked there or what. But
God, there's cops everywhere, man. There were two that he just passed by that weren't even lit up. They're all hovering, and you know if he stays in this area, you can expect to see some spike strips.
You know, relatively speaking, it's a good thing that they're out of that parking lot, fewer people in danger.
Absolutely.
And as you know, he's probably looking for covered parking as well to get out a view of the chopper. Can you pull out just slightly little and show
I
us
don't know
the
if it's a
general
clown
area?
car
How
because it's
close are we
tinted, but
now
we've seen
to the highway?
one driver, obviously,
Is that the direction
down,
it's
putting the
heading?
window down.
Yeah, so the Whittier will parallel the 60 freeway and basically goes, over near kind of the Eastdale interchange, turns into 6th Street and the 6th Street Bridge if they want to stick to it the entire way. But yeah, a low-rise commercial district here, Whittier Boulevard. This is, definitely a busy commercial sector in the daytime. Lots of restaurants out here, gas stations. There's a Starbucks right there. Now circling back around.
This is a bad idea for this driver. Going back towards him, you better believe, look how many units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units in pursuit. And if you go backwards, there's going to be a couple units here waiting with spike strips. I would bet on it.
In that shopping center.
You know, it looked like a few moments ago.
He has a tendency to stay in the same area and do U-turns. U-turns equal opportunity to just bet on a street and say, he's coming back, let's put the spike strips on this road.
The good news in that is that hopefully they're looking for a way out.
It's true.
An ending to this.
Again,
after more than an hour.
Sure, back out west, when we were more east earlier, when we first picked this up. Again, this pursuit has been going on now for an hour and about 11 minutes. Mike Rogers at the desk with some new information for us. Mike?
Yeah, so we're listening to this because this person is going up and down Whittier Boulevard. CHP has some ideas of some things that they may want to try. Of course, we don't want to give away tactical information here, but I also wanted to point out we've seen it a couple of times now.
What did I tell you?
There's one right there. All of the Monterey Park PD units that Montebello PD units that are here. Montebello PD is not technically involved in the pursuit. CHP does not share pursuits. They either have full control of the pursuit or they're not in it at all. They don't want to do that. But you have these Montebello units that are kind of hovering around the area because if he goes into a shopping center like we saw, if he runs into a store, then they'll get involved. And then they're there, they're ready. They can help the CHP deal with all of this. I will say there were kind of more CHP units involved in this than we generally see in these pursuits. It's usually 3 units and a supervisor.
Right.
It seemed like I saw even more than that in this. So CHP may have gotten permission to have a couple more units in this, and then we've got Montebello PD kind of hovering around this area as well in case this, ends in a foot bail or something where they're going to need additional officers to be able to take this person into custody.
And if you're just joining us here on KCAL News, this has been going on for about an hour and 15 minutes now. This Nissan was stolen out of Belmonte earlier
It's a
today.
Dodge. Come on,
the authorities
KCAL.
became involved when they tried a traffic stop in Rancho Cucamonga, and that's when
Can't you tell? See the
race
emojis
was
in the
on.
chat?
At this point,
Looks exactly
CHP
like that
is in
Dodge Charger.
control of this pursuit. We know that the suspect inside here is armed. We believe just one person in the car, based on information coming into Mike at the desk on the priorities here, and we believe this person is armed with a ghost gun. He's been driving at speeds
Ghost
topping
gun.
100 miles an hour. We saw 109 on the 10 earlier this evening, and now he seems mired here in the side streets in Southgate, East Los Angeles.
That's right. And speaking of side streets, Ross, you know, we were
Well,
talking about the fact that
what was in the middle of the intersection there?
when
Was
we
that a-
first picked it up in the
was that a
center of the
motorcycle?
car, top of the
What was
center,
that?
You know, we were talking about freeways that this person.
Oh,
has
God,
stopped
this person's
the
like, what do I
freeways.
do?
We're
I see all these
talking
cops
about the
coming. I'm at a
10
stop sign.
The 605 freeway, they're going, in fact, up and down the 605 freeway, going northbound and
Yeah.
southbound. You know, getting on
Ghost gun
certain,
equals
freeways,
blueprints found
then
online and
getting
assembled
back
at
on
home.
just
No
as
serial
soon
number,
as
no
it got
registration.
off.
Exactly.
And this is the longest that we've actually seen this person on surface streets tonight. And as Mike was saying, this is kind of that opportunity when the CHP is, you know, having their discussions about what are we going to do about this? You know, are we going to be setting up units, you know, probably in the area where they might believe this person is traveling to or towards? They're trying to pick up that pattern.
this is
and
kind of
as
a
I was
busy
talking
street
about
here.
earlier, to
Thankfully, the
possibly
red and
do
blues are
something
lit up
like
here
that
on the
and take
CHP
leave
vehicle,
or-
so
or
people
perhaps
know-
spike strips, more
people
likely
know that
because
they're
of the fact
coming.
This person is armed. You know,
And they can
across the
stop
road.
at lights
And, you know, we have
and
to
not
talk about
fly
the
through intersections,
few
because he just went through a
very
solid
few
red,
positive
but the cars that were
indications
supposed to be
we've
going
seen
through the
this
green
person
light had
has,
advance notice.
not had any
So good on
direct
the
run-ins
good on the
with cars,
CHP
not
here
gone
for
the
keeping the
wrong
red and
way.
blues
He's
lit
been
up.
signaling when changing lanes. We had one tense moment, Des, just a few moments ago when they ran through the parking lot and pedestrians were present. But the good news is it hasn't been insanely erratic. The bad news, the car is stolen. It itself is a weapon. As we look at the driver inside, it looks like a male who we believe is armed. We don't believe that they're young teenagers.
Well-
Strip attempt.
Ah, spike strip!
He's going around? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was.
Did I tell you guys?
Really way in there and wanted to try to get a look at the driver, and there was a spike strip attempt there by CHP. So they are getting pretty serious. Unfortunately, it looked like the suspect was able to dodge it, but
That's what the swerve was, out of the way. Spike strip thrown. He saw it coming, went into the wrong side of the road, now making a left-hand turn away from it. You really get one shot if they keep making U-turns and staying in the same area. Then if you have a smart suspect like this guy clearly is compared to some other suspects that we've seen, you kind of notice, I need to get away from this area because they're starting to set up fortresses of spike strips. But then you find yourself on a side street where it gets a little tenuous here with some traffic.
Wrong side of the road there. So yeah, I mean, you were saying, you know, the car is a weapon, Ross, and you're absolutely right. I mean, what we saw in that parking lot there, where the grocery stores and
Dank asks, is this our most experienced driver? That's definitely a no. We've seen people that are very well aware how to get rid of choppers and know to get into parking garages, but this person has his wits about him, that's for sure. Not just acting on primal instinct like we see the adrenaline pumping through people's veins so that they're intoxicated or having mental issues, just turns them into fucking like I Am Legend zombies, man. I don't know how else to describe it.
Streets out here and really anything above 30 miles an hour.
It's not that easy just to send cops to Spike Strip because you don't know if he's going to go straight or make a left, and you have to anticipate it in advance.
And Mike Rogers at the desk, and Desmond Shaw and his crew in SkyCal. Good evening, everyone. I'm Susie Suh. We've been following this pursuit of a stolen car for about an hour now. The car was actually stolen.
Still
was
65.
Stolen, earlier
5
today,
months.
and it was
Facebook
actually
official.
in the El Monte area that this car was stolen out of.
Ooh, that
They
was
picked it up
close.
in the Rancho Cucamonga
Oh, that
area.
person pulling up to the stop sign has no clue what is happening. It comes to a full halt as the armada of CHP makes that left-hand turn. They're really rolling up on him fast because they don't want him to get through this intersection and pull away. And they also want the red and blues to be nearby so people know that are in oncoming traffic that you need to pay attention, wake up, slow down, come to a halt.
No longer on the freeways.
Bettin'.
We can possibly do something
Appreciate you
now.
for
Susie,
subscribing. This is not an intersection. No, we're not stopping in that
He
intersection.
saw it and was able to completely go around it. Not by much, though. It was close, but he was able to go around it. And I think that really woke him up because we were playing this game where we were going up and down Whittier Boulevard, back and forth, back and forth. And that's
Look at all those
what gave
donuts in the middle of the
CHP
intersections.
their opportunity
They were
to
doing
try
some
this
street
because
racing
they
there.
knew that he was just going in circles. Not long after at all.
Cahokia,
they tried that
1,000
spike, he
on the
pulled
cheer.
off. He's back
Appreciate
to doing
you.
what we're doing, which is driving all around kind of
Hapa TV, can you say hi to
different
Leslie,
streets here,
Marge, and
which is what
Kelly?
makes it really
The
difficult
three
for
of you
CHP to try
combined
to
for
lay out
5
spikes
months sounds like a fun little
because
police
they
chase
don't
watch
know where
party.
he's going.
Exactly.
right? So that was
Send me
kind of
pictures.
his fatal flaw to begin with here was that
Still going
he was
here,
just
heading
going up and
towards
down the same
Downey, Hay Street,
CHP
Lincoln
got
Avenue.
wise to that, tried the spike strip, didn't work.
Southgate
and now this
area,
guy's
still
figured
on
that out,
side
and we're
streets.
Back to going just wherever here.
Real
Now,
men
we
love
understand this
cats.
person is armed with a
That's a
ghost
screen
gun,
name, not
and that's
stating a
obviously, increasing the security.
Can't
level
agree
of
on
all
that
of
one,
this,
but
where we might
appreciate
have
you,
seen
subscribing.
A spike strip or perhaps even a pit maneuver earlier on in this pursuit, especially when they're on the surface streets like this. Officers might not attempt something like that, Mike, because of that reason.
Right, we have been on surface streets long enough and the speeds have been low enough that if they wanted to do a pit maneuver, I believe that they would have probably had the opportunity by now. And as we look at Desmond Shot, if they were going to, you would see that back
Thank you.
patrol car
Drop your skips in the
really
chat.
inching up right behind the car, getting
Real
much
men love
closer,
skip.
but we don't. They're keeping several car lengths distance between that car, which to me would believe that they're not interested in trying to do a pit maneuver.
Gotcha. And Mike, we saw that one dramatic moment in the parking lot. Talk about that. We thought that we would see CHP kind of move more aggressively after that because there were people in that
Get
parking
out, get
lot
out from
was,
under that. We don't need no Paul Walker
potentially a
challenge
very
going on
dangerous
here.
situation.
Get through. Okay.
And it so is, Chauncey. I mean, and we've seen so many times where, as Desmond mentioned, if the suspect just has about 20 or 30 seconds, they can get out of the car, run in a store, and be lost. And by the time that everyone's able to get perimeter set up, they could be out the back door, they could be, completely in the wind. But CHP has had such good coordination on this, they already were at the other end of the parking lot waiting for him to come out. So you have the units that were behind him. Obviously, they're not going to drive like he was in the parking lot, but you had them already waiting, and so he obviously could tell that this was not his moment to try to get away and get in that store. You also had all those Montebello units that were not involved in the pursuit, but were in the area and hovering around to be able to assist CHP if he were to try to do something like that. So I think that he kind of realized that that wasn't going to stop anything. We've seen this person just kind of try to throw anything they can at the wall and see what sticks. On the freeway, up and down, on and off, on surface streets, down one street or into the neighborhoods. And now we're kind of right back against the 60 freeway, it looks like.
Yeah, that's right. You're watching KCAL News at 8. Again, a pursuit of a stolen car tonight. We believe the driver of this car right now is armed, and that's why CHP officials...
They've got that handheld night sun. You see that?
We might have seen a pit maneuver on something like this already, but we're not because of the fact that this person is armed, which certainly raises...
No, this is a 3-star chase. Stolen car pursuit with armed and dangerous. Done some aggressive driving. It's a very fair 3-star chase.
Spike strips for a second because of the fact that this is not an easy operation. It might seem like the CHP just throws some spike strips out there, just out there randomly, but it's a very methodical procedure. They're very heavy, first of all. They need to take them out of the case. It's kind of like an accordion as we watch this.
Whoa, who's in the street? Is that a spike strip?
Pulling over for the first time. Desmond,
Was that a spike strip at the corner? What's going on?
We're seeing them pull over.
Now what?
Yeah, and of course, the usual pursuit tree gets in the way as well.
Pursuit tree. God damn it.
SkyCal around the tree.
Okay,
to try to
now
look,
what?
Is this where the person is surrendering? Here you can see CHP out with guns drawn. I just noticed this person right here who almost looked like they were giving direction to the person as they were pulling up. I could have sworn I saw that person make like some kind of hand motion. At
Yeah,
this
right?
person.
Damn trees.
But and now we make a turn here and we have stopped. Let's widen out and see if this is a dead end, because I'm kind of surprised that the suspect hasn't hit a dead end yet. I can't quite tell. Don't want to zoom out too much farther, so let's go back in and see if we see some hands out the window or what the deal is. If they've just had enough and realized that, this was kind of a waste of time, but not seeing them surrender yet. Usually, if they want to give up, we'll see some hands out the window or something.
This does
CHP
not feel like a
obviously giving them
surrender
those
just yet,
commands.
doesn't it?
Tell them, let's see your hands, or throw the keys out, something like that. But no movement yet.
All right. And, this is a very kind of volatile situation. It could turn in just a matter of seconds. Mike, I want to go back to you to talk about the dangers of this situation. CHP saying this person allegedly may have a ghost gun. We know that has been a major topic here when we talk to law enforcement officials about these ghost
Door
guns.
is not open. We are
Getting them
not
off
code
the streets.
4. We're
There's
we're simply in a standoff now.
way, to trace them. And when you look
Might be
about-
loading
about
Waze,
research
honestly.
about these ghost guns all across
How to
the
get back
country,
to the
police
60.
departments are grappling with these ghost guns and trying to get them off the street?
Yeah, it's a huge issue, and it's unclear. I asked San Bernardino Sheriff's Office about the gun. That's how this originally came through. Is that the CHP units in the Inland Empire were notified of it by the sheriff's department, who was in pursuit. Now we believe that the chase or the vehicle is taken out of El Monte, which brings in another law enforcement agency into this. So we'll probably have to get some details from them if they're the ones that originally took the stolen car report. I want to talk about two things, though. This is not a dead end. Neither one of these streets are a dead end, so he could continue going. And that person that we saw, Des thought he saw them motioning, and I played back the video, and he definitely is in the street when this car comes by, and does kind of put out his hand like a stop motion type thing.
What?
So interesting to me that person was out there. If they saw this on TV and wanted to,
maybe
get
it's a
involved,
relative.
which is obviously not the right thing to do at all.
But it's a stolen car.
I was about to say, yeah. It also begs the question as to why this driver suddenly decided to stop here now that we know that this is not a dead-end road. Desmond, we're going to go back up to you as far as the pursuit ending right here, and we know that this is not a dead-end road. What is CHP doing?
I mean,
now,
CHP should be getting, or
wait to see what's
Montebello Police should be on the
and
other
see
side of the
this
street with a
driver's
bed of
way
spike
to
strips in case he floors it.
Well, they could certainly go in the other way, and indeed you can see that this road does come out. If they wanted to get up ahead, they could put out a spike strip to deter this.
Put a bed of spike strips at the end of this street.
Tactic, if they can get in and seal the
Case he
other side
floors
of
it.
the street. So,
That would be very smart.
Again, it's kind of far away. I don't want to go up there in case this person decides to get out and run or anything else. So let's stay focused here for a bit. But my definitely kind of scratching my head at that person. That certainly seemed like a little bit more than a coincidence that they were there. I mean, we've been trying to think what could be going on with this suspect. Mike raised the possibility of, maybe it was stolen from a family member or something like that. And the way, frankly, this person was driving, first I thought it was aimless, but that they haven't driven into any wrong way streets tells me that this person probably is pretty familiar with this area. So is this where they live? Was that a relative?
Pursuit tree.
It just didn't look random.
Is that did we just figure out some more merch? A merch idea? Is Pursuit Tree a thing? Is it a thing now that we can make it I can take the time to make a graphic for it?
They're talking with an
Oh.
officer right now. So I highly doubt that is just some bystander.
The citizen standing right there.
It seems very, very
Telling him to get his ass
someone
back on the sidewalk.
The suspect knows.
Yeah, Desmond, it looks like that person might
Pursuit
have been telling
tree.
this driver, hey, stop. And then a
The
few
tree
seconds
Roy
later, as soon as we
Jenkins.
get here
The
on
tree
this
is
road,
always in the way when they
the
pull
driver
over.
actually
Fucking
stopped.
pursuit trees, man.
It may be likely that this driver does know.
Will you
that
buy
person who
Pursuit
was waving at
Tree?
him, telling him to stop.
Yeah, maybe
Those of you that are
they were
unaware, we have
that
merchandise,
person
birdsintheair.com.
here and said,
We
you know,
don't
listen,
have
yeah,
Pursuit
I'm in
Tree
right now, and here I
shirts
come,
yet,
and the
but I
person
might have to
sits
add
up,
one.
and that's
I gotta
what
think of the
CHP
graphic for it.
also, pulled over with this person
Do I put
right
a
now.
person
The
behind the
guns are
tree
trained
poking his
on
head
this
out?
person,
Or do
so
I
far,
have the
this
cop
person
driving
has not
into the
come out,
tree
so this could
as the
end up turning
graphic?
into a standoff situation.
Make it a
As we
Christmas
have
sweater.
seen many times after pursuits, it often happens, but if that
It's
does
funny.
happen,
Put it
we're
on a
gonna talk
Christmas
about,
sweater.
The CHP bringing in their ballistic
That might be
shields
the
and
answer.
all kinds of different options, but
All right, let me
because
see
of
what
the
I can
fact
do.
that this person is armed, that
Just in
could
time for
certainly
Christmas.
change their
Pursuit
after
tree.
pursuit operation.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out, during the chase, we did hear them coordinating less lethal options. So they made sure that they had officers involved in this chase that had those less lethal options already. And as you know, we kind of wait for this person to figure out if they're going to come out or not. I wanted to ask the controller if we can come to my computer here, because I just kind of want to show you where we're at and where we've been. So this circle right here is a CHP helicopter, obviously circling over Fernfield Drive and Fulton Avenue. But as I pull out a little bit here, you can see the tail of the CHP helicopter. We've not gone, a terribly distance. It's been going on for a while here, but you can just, he's taking off.
Ah!
On the move.
We're on the move!
Yeah, back on the move here. So we're going to come up to the.
Are there spike strips ahead?
CHP has a
Here we go, folks.
And
What I
it's
tell you.
Spike strips or what?
Spike strips out here?
And so, yeah.
No spike strips.
Spike strips, though.
No.
And this is
Free
what I mentioned
exit.
earlier, how, you would think that. I'm surprised that they didn't have a spike strip down there, but I'm not surprised that they went
And we're
off the
back.
street completely, because this person is armed and they have no idea what this person is capable of.
And we're
So
picking
they
up
just want
speed.
to box their officers in, and look at that, just as we were hoping that the suspect was going to give up.
Where were the spike strips? You knew that was coming the moment he did not surrender.
I was just going to say, Desmond, it was just so coincidental that this person happened to stop at that, right place where that person was, that bystander, whoever that person was. And we thought that this was the end of the chase because of that reason, that they had, come to grips with the fact that they're going to, get chased all night and just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to give up, and I'm going to give it up in an area that I'm familiar with and nearby,
Ruiz. Oh, God. Solid red light. And there are no stoppages at these intersections. That was so lucky there was no oncoming cars here.
Speak with that guy. So if the guy
Watch out for pursuit trees. There's 2 pursuit trees right there. A third. Look at the size of those pursuit trees.
Gain a little bit of intel from him.
Chrome crayons. What's up?
The car didn't stop. So hopefully that gives them a little bit more insight.
Oh, God, wrong side of the road.
If this person has any other mental health issues, if there's anything else going on here that would give CHP kind of a clue, even a phone number,
blocked
maybe
by a
they can
tree.
call him. Dispatchers will do that all
This
the
feels
time.
like an on-ramp.
So hopefully they were able to get something out of that at least.
Yeah, that's true. Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal tonight, giving us this shot of this pursuit that's been going on now for more than an hour and a half. We've been on it since 7 o'clock, the top of the 7 o'clock hour, and we picked it up in the Rancho Cucamonga area near Ontario Mills Mall. And this car was stolen out of the El Monte area, and we do believe this person is armed with a ghost gun. And obviously, the CHP in pursuit, and they have been staying in pursuit, not relinquishing it to any other jurisdictions or departments. They have been on the freeway for most of the pursuit, but now I want to say that most of the pursuit has been on surface streets for a good part of, I would say 30, 40 minutes now. We've been on surface streets, giving officers the opportunity to try to, some of these stop techniques like the pit maneuver, the spike strips, the attempt that we saw earlier. And I want to talk about the spike strips again as we see.
See Gregory, a ghost gun assembled with parts, no serial number.
In a
not
situation
registered.
like this, where everything is happening
Essentially
so
bought
fast,
off eBay
adrenaline
with
is running,
parts.
Obviously, these officers have to put these spike strips out so quickly and so efficiently that for them to even go over it, it's a huge deal. To
You
have
guys love
success on
Pursuit
the spike
Tree.
strip. It's not as easy as it might look. The officers have to throw them out. Once they get them out, they have to throw them out kind of like an accordion, and then they have to get out of the way and pull it back, because they could actually put themselves in danger by being in the way if this car is, flying down the street and they're trying to hit the spike strip. So,
and with that being said, Desmond, are you surprised? They had probably about a minute or two there while the driver was stopped on that side street in that neighborhood to put.
I've watched The Chaser too in my day.
They had,
JSE M.
the
Rowe.
CHP there at the end of the street. Were you surprised that
Or whoever
they
said,
did not
sorry.
have the spike strips out? Being that we were
Bugawa.
waiting on this driver and sitting still for almost 2 minutes there.
I want a Pursuit Tree
I
bobblehead.
was definitely surprised to see that, and if that was just if they were not wanting to use that strategy for whatever reason, maybe, or if they didn't have any available. I mean, we know that they have them available, so I'm really unclear why, and we know that they're willing to use them. They already tried at least once, possibly twice earlier to use one. And they would have had more than enough time for those officers that had the spike strip to retrieve them and drive up to where.
Thank you,
they were
Nightbot.
at. And
We have a white Dodge
covered
Charger.
so
For those
much
of you just
distance
joining
that
us, we're in
those
Southgate. We've
officers
come to
would
a
have had
complete
time to do
stop.
that. So
We've been on
I
freeways. We've been on
definitely
side streets. We've had
perplexed as to
citizen
why
intervention.
They chose not to use.
But it's still a 3-star
spike
chase,
strip
and we're still going here in a
on this
stolen
one. But,
car with a ghost gun allegedly in the vehicle with him.
Gears are turning in a lot of people's heads right now. What is going on with this person?
White Dodge Charger, not sure of the year, is the make of the vehicle. I know there's a lot of car people out there.
Talking to CHP,
always like us to
waiting
get-
on the scene.
like
If
to name
person
that
wasn't
vehicle.
involved,
That's a
CHP
Dodge
would have told them
Charger.
to get out of the area. And instead, CHP was talking.
Okay, we're on to a
with whoever
more
that was wearing the white polo, and I saw them
traditional
kind of motion
side
okay,
street.
Stay behind this line. Stay behind the white limit line there that was in the roadway. Which I think we can, pretty safely put the pieces of that puzzle together. That these people are acquainted in one way or another. And
Oh,
so,
definitely
then
definitely
the
get
fact
Desmond
that
a
we
shirt,
are
Pursuit
talking
Tree
about
shirt.
a ghost gun, a very specific thing, how this vehicle was stolen. I can't help but wonder if this is some kind of family situation that's going on with everything that we've seen.
Whoa.
A little bit boxed in here. Let's see what they decide to do.
gonna go
Going
to
to go
this
through the
parking
gas
lot.
station here.
Gas station. We're going to cut through it.
Through the,
Look at the price of gas.
under the awning.
Oh, God.
And Mike, you heard Desmond there.
Pull out, pull
He's
out.
turning around.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That is not the correct way. That's how you get pit maneuvered.
Squeezes by.
Back out.
And there's a cage on that CHP vehicle. Might not be pit certified. What was that U-turn? That was not efficient at all. Maybe he's not as smart as I think he
We're
is.
still waiting for official word from police, but when you think about
That had white
the
whale chase written all over it, didn't
there
it?
In the parking lot where he had people around and in danger, and also going on the freeway up and down at one point the wrong way, and then what we just saw right there in that neighborhood, it doesn't seem like they are being as aggressive that you might think they would, especially knowing that this person might have this ghost gun.
Yeah, each agency kind of handles things differently. I will say CHP, and we're back in a parking lot now as we come back out here. I will say CHP is a little bit, yes, they'll chase everything, but they are a little more, I don't know if gentle is the right word, but they're not as aggressive as we see some of the other agencies. Like, for example, San Bernardino Sheriff's Office, who started this, they'll get you. They'll come at you hard, and they will end a pursuit. The CHP is a little bit more, we'll stay with it, but
Clearly.
we're going to make some real risky, dangerous type of moves here. They're more of a, we'll keep following the car until this driver chooses to give up here. But
CHP playing prevent defense, but at least they're not in tracking mode.
And again, CHP is not the initiating agency here. So they're not El Monte PD, which took the stolen car report. They're not the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office, which started the pursuit. So CHP is also working off third-hand information. It's still from law enforcement, so I'm sure they trust it and all of that, but it's not anything that their officers have witnessed, which may make them, just kind of want us to just stay with this and follow it a little bit more versus taking some real aggressive action.
Gotcha. And at one point, I understand we got pretty high. You talk about over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah. I mean, we were going quick on the freeways. The majority, and now we've gone on for so long, the majority is on surface streets. But when we first started this, they were on the freeway for a long time and driving real fast, up into the triple digits, which I kind of have been, we've talked about this, but this person's really done all of the usual things that a person tries when they're trying to get away. Real fast, back on and off the freeway, on the surface streets, through the shopping center. He's checking a lot of the boxes of how do I lose the cops, and it's not working.
It's true. Yeah, Desmond, it looks like this person did have maybe a full tank when they first stole the car.
Yeah, I've been going for a while.
Possibly. This is smaller on the SUV scale of things. I think these cars
Kudo
are
Wen,
equipped
what's up?
with four-cylinder engines, maybe
Oh, it's
decent
your boy.
fuel economy. I'm thinking low to mid-20s for a Nissan Murano. I actually have a good car friend who will
Who the hell is Matt Canada?
Who will probably text me the exact details here within the next couple of minutes if he's watching. But we did also
Why are you
just
saying
learn,
fire
too, that
Matt Canada?
if CHP has learned that
Ranger,
the
what's going
drivers
on?
are
Who's
female.
Matt Canada?
We heard them say that, so it sounds like they probably got that information at the very least from whoever that was on the sidewalk earlier when the vehicle stopped, who we are pretty confident knows who this suspect is. So it seems that they got that information at the very least.
And
they're saying that it is a female driver. Mike, go ahead.
Fairly unusual to see
Female driver.
pursuits. Obviously,
Again.
we had that one a couple of weeks ago. That
The
ended up
wig
being worse
chase.
as well, but not terribly common to see female drivers in these chases.
Yeah, it's true. If you're just joining us here on KCAL News at 8, this is breaking news. We've been following this pursuit of a stolen car now going down this dark, narrow
30.
road in the city of, I believe we are in the
Monterey Park area
Monterey
now.
Park area now. Wow. Well, we started this
30
pursuit.
minutes,
We
30
picked it up in the Ontario Mills Mall area. That's in Rancho Cucamonga, and made our way west. And they've been in this area in the San Gabriel Valley for a good part of 40 minutes now. And there was one spike strip attempt that was not successful. As you can see, this car is moving along just fine. And it looked like that person was going to stop. They did make a stop temporarily as CHP officers were talking to somebody that we believe is acquainted to this person in some fashion. in some way or fashion. We have no idea how they're related, but we do know that that person was possibly giving some information to CHP officers about this person before they decided to take off once again.
Yeah, then taking off once again, getting back on the run. Then we, a short time later, see the driver that we now know, according to CHP, is a woman, pull into the gas station parking lot, turn around, and then get back right on the road.
I don't know why I'm
now, back on the run, trying to get away from police. And, you know, this is a situation that police are watching closely and that we have to watch closely too. Mike Rogers, we've been talking about this. I want to bring you back in because
kind of close to Downey. We're northeast of Downey right now.
Allegations that a person is armed, but not only armed, but armed with the ghost gun that we know has become a problem.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about this earlier too, but just the fact that we're on surface streets versus freeways, you know, unbelievably are actually safer because everyone's going in the same direction. There's no pedestrians, there's no parked cars. You know, it's a little bit easier for them, and this pursuit has been going on. I mean, we're coming up on a little over an hour and a half now, to the point of, you heard Desmond, we're doing some housekeeping here at the desk, figuring out how much fuel SkyCal has left, and we've only got about 30 minutes of fuel left because we were up actually before the chase started. So this person
30 minutes of fuel, but
with going. CHP is content
Eliana's
with
up.
them.
Eliana's
that's probably
an
what
hour
CHP is okay
hour
with.
behind, so I bet Eliana's got another hour
Any aggressive moves. We're going
plus
about
of
30
what
miles an hour.
Desmond has.
We are on surface streets, which makes everyone a little bit more nervous, but we're not. And there's another. Was there spike strips there, Des, or just
No.
even parked? Just even parked to look like.
Just parked
Yeah,
on the
just
side.
even
Is that the same gas station that we just made a loop around? That's the same one, isn't it?
So, yeah, and we are still kind of hanging around the same area, you know, just kind of on either side, kind of going north of the 60, south of the 60. We're headed northbound, although we are still south of the 60 freeway. You know, back onto Garfield. This is the third or fourth time. Is this actually the same gas station?
Yeah.
Same gas
It is,
station.
wow.
We were just kind of looping around earlier as well. So, you know, if they want to do something with a spike strip, it seems like they would have the opportunity to do that, circling around again out here onto Garfield. But you can see those 4 actually units that are right on this. They are ready to, you know, if the suspect gets out and runs, they are definitely ready. But this person, boy, it sure just seems like they're kind of running out the clock at this point.
Yeah, and then it makes you wonder why they're staying in this area and not getting back on the freeway, as Mike was talking about. You know, are they, you know, still talking to maybe some of their acquaintances, friends, family members, you know, deciding what to do next as they just keep on going on these surface streets, Mike?
Yeah, and as Des gets tight in there, it looked like there may be a light coming from the driver's seat. I wonder if they're on the phone. Did you see that as well?
I did briefly see
Her window's down now.
there. And you know, it sure looked like that person earlier that we referenced, like that they might have had their flashlight on a phone or something. Like maybe they were on the phone with this person as well. So I think probably a lot of communication has been going on now. Back into another little neighborhood here on Via San De Lauro Street. So. Yeah, still kind of hanging around this same area.
Yeah.
See if they loop back around to where they stopped at.
Des, and I was just about to say, you see the driver, this woman.
Whoa,
moving
that's a tight
around,
turn.
like, going back to that gas station, and then, of course, on that side road, seeing that person gesturing her to stop. It seems like that this driver may know this area.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, we had heard that even though they picked up this vehicle in Rancho Cucamonga, that it was allegedly stolen out of the El Monte area, you know, one of the neighboring jurisdictions here to the Montebello, Monterey Park area here off of the 60 freeway. So not too far away from where that incident is said to have happened. So, you know, quite possibly for a while there when they got off the freeway, it looked really aimless, like they were lost and made a wrong turn. But the way that they've been going, and like I said, that they haven't hit any cul-de-sacs or anything like that, makes me think that they are. Okay, there was another spike attempt.
There's a spike, and a wheel came off.
Wheels off.
Yeah.
What the?
Boy,
Wow, that was
What? We have Katy Perry challenge coming out of the front left.
take a tire off like that.
A spike strip just
Right
ripped the tire, the rubber off the tire, and we had sparks coming out. An instant Katy Perry challenge out of nowhere.
Person really knows that CHP means
Is the
business,
spike strip
and they just
stuck
want
in
tire
the
instantly.
rim?
And the vehicle could probably still go. if
The
they
spike strip
wanted
might be
to.
stuck in there like a bee sting.
on less than 4 tires.
Yeah.
But let's see
Wow.
what he decides to do now.
That was not a slow drip.
This is the second time that we're seeing this.
Yeah, that spike strip is stuck in there, man. Like a fucking ringworm. Parasite. Just ejected that front left tire.
Throw your keys out the door. Let's show your hands. You know, open the door from the outside and slowly come out with your hands up. But we'll see if they actually cooperate this time, because the last time they did not.
Yeah, the car's in a little bit worse.
Oh, the front left is wrecked. Look at the fender.
So CHP was, they were ready for this.
Oh, the tire ripped the bumper to shreds. Dog? Dog? That's a dog! Doge!
All of that, and hopefully that this person.
Fur missile locked and loaded in the far left unit.
I mean, again, like Desmond said.
Oh, if they open that door and run, they're getting Doge.
Way too long, but hopefully this person is not going to try that. And we've actually got some video we can show you here of that spike strip.
Okay, here's a replay on the right. Let's see how this happens. Comes out of nowhere.
On the right side of your screen,
There's the cop parked perpendicular.
Kind of hit it.
What the?
Ricocheted.
What the heck was that?
A hubcap and a tire just kind of fall apart like that on initial contact.
They were fishing. They had it and they pulled
That's what I
it.
was about to say, on initial
They pulled
contact,
it.
But I think that as the driver was turning,
And it hit the
angle
front
that it
left.
might have hit the spike strip that just sent that tire. Just
But they were
spinning
parked on the
around.
other side, so they didn't get hit. Then they pulled the spike strip across the road.
Is the spike caught up in the wheel well there? Because we've seen that
And
before,
it's
too, where
stuck
spike
in
can
the-
get stuck on the car
in the
and that
rim.
can kind of do some more damage. Is that what's happening?
Is it like a bomb? Why is it lit up like that?
I can't tell if that's part of the fender that's sticking out of the top.
Is there a
or not,
fire?
But you can go over and see that it looks like it got the rear tire as well. That one looks.
Or is it a
flat,
reflection of
so
the light?
That might have been the most perfect spike strip attempt.
The
I've
back left is
ever
going
seen
flat, too.
To be able to just
Instant
run it
pop.
right off, 'cause these spikes, the way they're
Now
designed
what?
is for slow deflation like that.
Yeah, it's meant to
And
take at least 10
it's
minutes.
Incredibly unusual to see something like that. Usually we see the tire hang on for up to another 40 minutes or something.
Is it the light? Yeah, it could be the light from the front
Very
is
slowly, but, we
being
have a window
reflected
down,
back 'cause the
and,
fender's all messed up.
It looks like the suspect may be wearing a pink beanie or something like that.
Oh my God, do not run. Do not run or you're getting the fur missile.
So she's talking. but
Locked and loaded.
a lot of commotion going on.
Fox
moving
2.
Her hands.
Or
Or
it
is
just
she-
may not be in a good state of mind here.
Yeah,
Right.
We're just reacting to what officers
She
are
rapping?
yelling right now.
Looks like B Rabbit at the shelter.
Once again, CHP saying that this is a woman, and also she may be armed with a ghost gun.
Could have a ghost
We know
gun.
this has been
Who
going
knows
on
what's
for
going
over
on
an
here in the
hour and a
front.
half now. This chase, which started by a reported stolen car out of the El Monte area, and this is where we are now after being here in this area at least for the last 30 minutes. In that one side on that one side street, we saw that person telling the driver to stop. That person might have known this woman just because the way they were acting and gesturing for her, trying to get her to stop, and then circling back around twice to that gas station, and then finally ending here with the spike strips as we watch police with their guns drawn, just waiting on this woman to come out of the car and to surrender.
Yeah, and after that,
That's a
whole
lot of
event,
CHP.
Whoever that acquaintance was, we didn't see this person get back on the freeway. So it kind of leads us to believe that they, again, are familiar with this area. They want to stay in the area where they're familiar with and make the decision on what they're going to do, whether they're going to come to a stop, forced to a stop as they were just now by this spike strip, or, run out of gas, or perhaps do it on their own. But it looks like the CHP had a successful spike strip tonight, putting this part of the pursuit at least to an end, and the person not cooperating right now, not coming out of the vehicle as they're being ordered to do.
And Susie, you talked about that acquaintance there on that side street in the neighborhood. We also, Mike, we did not see police move that person away or try to get them away from the scene.
Right. Sorry, I'm just getting some more information here. But yeah, they definitely engaged with that person, which
right.
If he wasn't a part of this, they would have immediately shoot him away. But they engaged with this person. They talked to him. They asked questions. We're just getting some other information from Angelina on our assignment desk out in the newsroom that this was stolen today. This car was stolen today, and now we're being told that it was actually out of Monterey Park and not El Monte. The CHP maybe had some different information there, but Monterey Park would make much more sense because I believe we are either in Monterey Park or very, very close to Monterey Park. If we're on the north side of the 60, I believe we're in Monterey Park, but Des, looks like we're actually just south of the 60, right?
Yes, that is correct. So we're on Garfield, or just off of Garfield. I'm just noticing that the suspect's either listening to loud music and kind of getting into the music, or they're kind of writhing back and forth and having some issues in there. But it doesn't seem like they have any interest in communicating with the authorities at this point. The window's been up and down. You can kind of see inside a little bit here, but lots of hand gesturing, and I just have to wonder if, something's going on with this person, and that just makes me wonder if that's what that person on the side of the road earlier was trying to tell about CHP. So,
that would make
we'll be able
sense.
to put the pieces together on this fairly soon, but bottom line, this person not giving up, and CHP is not going to be too interested in coming up to the vehicle if they have reason to believe that this person is armed.
And Des, really quick, I'm just curious, if we can pull our attention away from the car for a second, I'm curious if that person that was at the side of the road followed this and is here at the end of the pursuit. Maybe we've seen family members kind of do that before. I'm just curious if we see him anywhere back there at all. I know the trees are terribly placed there for us, but I was just curious to see if we see him anywhere.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cruisers.
Right, just kind of
That person just trying to get by? Excuse me.
What is this person doing?
Getaway vehicle?
It's kind of.
What is this person doing?
CHP's business. They're just trying to make a turn, or
Might be a stringer.
Maybe that's just someone trying to get home. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that. But
doesn't
that
sure
one
seem
person
like
was
it.
wearing a white polo. I remember pants
Pursuit
and
tree.
tucked in white polo, if I recall. So I'm looking around to see that person, and I do not see that person. Let's see if by chance
Pursuit tree,
they're
damn
in
it.
that van.
Pursuit tree strikes again.
Weird, or if that person was just kind of
That person's sketchy.
brazenly
I don't know
drove
what they're
into
up to.
Police's business and then to go down the street to go home. Not sure, but I do not see the person that we saw earlier here on scene with CHP.
Yeah, oftentimes at the end of a pursuit with the CHP, when there isn't that heightened level of security with an armed situation happening, as we
Well,
have in this
folks,
case, they're going to go.
We saw a standoff a little bit earlier, and we know what happened. That is not out of the realm of possibility, despite that thorn being in the side of this white Dodge Charger.
Then the officers will actually step
This person can
behind
still hit the
that
gas and just go.
shield and attempt
Say,
to
Leroy
approach the
Jenkins,
car.
fuck
But
it.
As you can see, this is a very delicate, and they have to be very ginger with this operation because of the fact that this is a person who is armed, and we don't know what their mental state of mind is right now, if that could be a part of the
They're shooting
problem
pepper
behind.
balls.
But it looks like they're using their less than, yeah.
And I just saw that.
Oh, yeah, smoke coming out of the non-lethals in that
Just a
front
couple
unit.
seconds ago, it looks like they tried to launch one through the window. Des, can you tell if it went in?
Now,
There's some smoke coming out of there. Those are probably non-lethals.
But yeah, this is another thing here where we were talking about how CHP's kind of treads the middle of the road when it comes to tactics and aggression with these pursuits.
They're
But,
usually pepper balls.
They're definitely not
Or
afraid
beanbags.
to unleash some of the pepper balls early. And okay, if the spike strip didn't get your attention, is this going to get your attention? And look at this.
Oh, door's open.
After that,
It did.
now we see the door opening.
Okay.
And we see
Do I
some
see hands?
So maybe the suspect finally realizes that the jig is up. Why turn this into a 4-hour situation when we can get it over?
No need for a
Now
bear
it's gonna
cat.
end one way or another.
We see hands.
With the suspect in handcuffs, and now let's just hope that they come out and obey commands.
And real quick, Des,
Definitely
just
acting
the
kinda strange.
level of
Go ahead,
uncomfort from those pepper balls is a lot. Those are not a thing.
Did
you
not
wanna sit
enjoy
in.
the pepper
Your
balls.
eyes immediately get watery. They're really hard to deal with. The first thing you're going to want to do is get fresh air, which is this person's at least out of the car
What?
now.
She's
Waiting
waving.
to-
See, the woman
the
is waving to the
helicopters, maybe?
helicopters.
Waving to all
She's
the
looking up,
helicopters, yeah.
waving to the helicopters now.
Smiling, laughing. Like, this whole thing's funny.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And
Well, go ahead,
Yeah.
Chauncey.
No, I was just saying, as this woman backs up,
What is this walk?
seemingly into a little dance there, if you will. We were talking earlier
Little
about
waddle.
the dangers
What
of
is going on?
of these ghost guns on the streets and how police are handling suspects, because these ghost guns have become a problem all across the country. They're untraceable. You can put them together right there at home. You don't need a background check. So as we see this woman being arrested here by CHP finally after
Do we have a clown
almost
car
2-hour
situation?
pursuit here.
We're going to move in and find out. We'll be code 4 here
Wrap
momentarily.
this up here on KCAL News
Knock
as
on
we've been
wood.
following this pursuit since the top of the 10 o'clock hour. It just makes you wonder what kind of situation.
We gotta clear
was
the
this?
trunk.
Was this some sort of domestic disturbance?
Wait
where
for the
this
fours to go up.
That person that we saw earlier was maybe a family member.
Code 4,
saying,
there you go.
This person
Left
is not
hand, you see the
right
fours
state
like it's the end of the
mind, but
third
looks
quarter
like,
in a college football game.
all clear here
Put your
in,
fours up in the sky,
Margaret
people.
Park
Put your
as
fours in the
person
chat.
is
We are
under
code
arrest
4
after a
on
standoff with the
this
pursuit suspect
strange
comes to an
chase
end.
All right,
that
you're
is
watching
now
KCAL News tonight at 8 o'clock.
complete. Well, another night, my friends, in the books. Until next time, we got merchandise. If you're first time here, birdsintheair.com. If you haven't followed the channel already, turn on your notifications so that you are notified of the next time that there is a chase here in the Los Angeles area or worldwide. Now would be the time to do so. But until then, it's your boy, and I will see you on the timeline.